I played at the Wynn for a long time, maybe 8 or 9 hours. So I had really a ton of hands that I could choose from. I have too many to go over in one vlog, so I'm going to just do, I guess, the highlight hands, or sometimes the low light hands on the vlog. So I bought in for 1,000. On this first hand I'm going to go over. I have 5, 6 of clubs in the small blind. I have about 900, so I had lost a little bit. The under the gun limps. The big stack makes it 20. I decided to peel one off. I call. Probably not the greatest idea with 5, 6 clubs in the small blind, but I did it anyways. And the under the gun calls. So there's $65 in the pot to a flop of 3 of spades, 4 of hearts, 7 of clubs. I flop the nuts. I check, hoping somebody else will bet. The end of the gun bets 20. The cutoff calls. And then I call. Boy, in retrospect, I think this is a mistake. I think I should have raised here, but I did not. The turn is the 2 of hearts. Again, I take the same line. I'm going to check, hoping somebody bets. But they do not. It's check, check. And now I really hate that I didn't bet the flop and I didn't bet the turn. The river comes with 125 in the pot, comes the 8 of spades. I bet $55, and they all fold. I did not play that hand very well at all. So on this next hand, once again, not the most stellar hand in the world, a 3-5 of clubs in the small blind. I have 850. The under the gun limps. A middle position, very aggressive player makes it 20. I make the call, and the under the gun player makes the call. The flop comes ace of spades, 6 of spades, 7 of clubs. It's check, check to the aggressive player. He bets 20. I raised to 55. I didn't believe he had an ace. I was hoping that he would be able to fold an ace. The other player folded, and then the aggressive player made the call. The turn has 175 in the pot. It's the 6 of diamonds. I lead out for 85, and he makes the call. The river, 345 in the pot, is the 9 of diamonds. I bet 175. He tanks for quite a while, and he folds. So again, not the most stellar hand I could have ever had. If he can find a call there, of course he's going to beat me. But hey, if you're gonna bluff and you're gonna represent hands, then you better be able to go 3 barrels and go the whole way and win the pot. And that's what I did. Gosh, the next hand, not such a stellar hand either, although I played it really, really well. I have 4 6 of clubs this time. I guess I had lots of clubs and lots of little cards. 4 6 of clubs in the cutoff. I have 1,100. I had won a few hands. A very, very loose middle position player who I had not beat all day bets 20. I make the call. So the flop has 45 in it. It's 2 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 7 of clubs. He leads out for 25, and I make the call. The turn is the 6 of spades. He bets 65. I raise to 185. I'm trying to represent the fact that I had the open-ended straight, and I got there, or that I have a good flush draw and I got there. Anyhow, he makes the call. The river, with 325 in the pot, is the jack of diamonds. So the flush comes in. I had represented what I hope was the open-ended straight. He checks. I bet 325. He tanks for a bit and makes the call and turns over pocket jacks. Oh, the river card. Geez, even though it was a diamond, if he doesn't get a jack on the end, I don't think there's any way he can call me. So I actually like my play a lot on this one. Again, if you're going to commit to doing something, then commit and do it. Anyhow, I lost the pot, but I thought I played well on that. So we're playing with this young Russian guy. He's probably 28, 29 years old. He had been playing for 23 straight hours. This 2-5 game, bought in for $1,500, and he had 6,100 in front of him. Very, very good player. Anyhow, every time that he was on the button, he straddled the $10. Well, he got busy with the waitress or something like that and didn't straddle this one time. One time the entire time I played, he didn't straddle. It folds all the way around to the small blind. We had been chopping, so I chop. She has ace king, and I have pocket aces. Oh my gosh, when you're running bad, I guess that's what happens. Because she would have gotten it in there. She was very aggressive. No guarantee I would have won, but I'd take my chances, aces against ace king. Anyhow, I won $2. Yay me. The next hand, I have pocket sevens. I have $1,300. I'm under the gun. I make it 20. And the guy who beat me earlier on the jacks hand, who I didn't beat all day long, calls me. I think he called every time because he thought he would beat me every single time. So there's $45 in the pot, and the flop comes jack of diamonds, 7 of spades, 5 of spades. I flop a set. So I bet 20. I know this he's never going to fold to me, evidently. So he makes the call. The turn with 85 in the pot is the 2 of hearts. I make it 35. He makes the call. So there's 155 in the pot, and the river comes 5 of clubs. So I want to make it look like I missed my spade, so I want to overbet just a little bit here. The last bet I had made was 35, so I raised it up to about 105, hopefully to represent missed spades. And he tanks for a minute and then makes the call. I show the full house, and I finally beat him one hand. Yes. So the next hand, kind of payback from what happened to me at the Bellagio, you'll see here in a minute. I'm in the small blind with pocket threes. I have $1,000. The cutoff is a really big stack. He makes it 20. I call, and the big blind calls. So the flop has 60 in it. It comes 3 of spades, 4 of spades, jack of diamonds. It goes check, check to the big stack cutoff. He makes it 35, and both of us call. So the turn has 165 in it. It's the 6 of spades, and it gets checked around. The river, bingo bongo, is quad threes for me, so I got a 3. I check. The big blind makes it 110. The cutoff folds. So there was 165 in the pot. He bets 110. So I'm hemming and hawing and acting like I don't know what to do. And he holds his hand up like this and says, I'll take this one, you take the next one. So normally when guys say that, I think they actually want to call. So I was going to raise to about 290. I made it 410. And he absolutely snap calls. Says, full house. He got 4s over 3s, and I had quad 3s. So I won the pot. But immediately upon winning the pot, I was kicking myself. He had another $400 back. And the way that he actually snapped with a $410 bet, I think he'd have called with an $810 bet too. So, oh well. I mean, I got value, and I got more than what I thought I was going to get originally after he made his little speech. But I'm kicking myself that I could have won another probably $400 on that one. So this next hand, I have King of Diamonds, Jack of Clubs on the button. I have about 1,400 in front of me. Checks all the way around to me. I make it 20, and the small blind calls. I'm a pretty aggressive player. Anyhow, the flop had 45 in it. It comes King of Hearts, Jack of Hearts, 8 of Hearts. So I flop top 2, but there's 3 hearts on the board. He checks to me. I make it 20, and he makes the call. The turn has 85 in the pot. Is the 7 of spades. He checks. I make it 40. He raises me to 120. I had no interest in believing him. I had seen this guy bluff many, many times. I'm thinking maybe he has the ace of hearts. So I make the call. The river, queen of clubs. He leads into me for 225. I pretty much snap called, thinking he does not have hearts. He says, 1 pair. He matched his queen on the end. He had the queen of hearts. Queen rag or something like that. And I won a really nice sized pot on that one. So I had chipped up. I have $2,000 now in front of me, and some very brash players joined the game. It's about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and these guys, you could just tell from their attitude and the way they were talking, is they thought they were going to come in and rule the table. And so the very first hand, one guy it was bet, and one guy makes it like $200 and everybody folds. So everybody's played with those kind of guys. You know them. So I have ace of spades, king of spades. I believe I was on the button. So the under the gun plus one makes it 35. One of the real brash guys makes the call. I raise to 160. Pretty hefty raise with an ace king. The plus one folds immediately. So the middle position guy makes a speech about, I know I can suck out. I know that if I suck out, I'm going to get your whole stack, all that kind of stuff. So he makes the call for 160. The flop, with 340 of the pot, comes 2 of clubs, 5 of clubs, 8 of clubs. A big swing and a miss for me. But he checks to me. I bet 240. He folds, and he shows ace of diamonds, 10 of diamonds. So I had him absolutely dominated. Whew, good thing he didn't have clubs. So I lost a few hands. I'm a couple of missed bluffs. I got set over set where I lost to a short stack. So I was down to about $1,300, and then I played this hand. Again, I have ace of spades, king of clubs. I'm in the small blind, $1,300. The middle position makes it 30. The hijack calls. Our friend the Russian with 6,000 chips makes the call from the button. And then I had a decision. I made a call. So I wasn't exactly sure what to do in a game like this. I don't think you could really get very many people to fold in this game. So, I mean, I could have made a big bet like I did before and made it, 150, 160. But I decided I would play it a little bit more sneaky and play the ace king. If I hit it, I hit it. And if I don't, I don't, and I go away. Sometimes this strategy wins you a really good pot, and sometimes your strategy is not so good and you lose, or maybe you lose a big pot. So we'll see. So the flop has 120 in it, and it comes king of clubs, 5 of spades, 3 of clubs. It checks all the way around to the button, the big stack, who makes it 65. I want to make sure that I can win the pot right here if I can. So I raised a 165. The other two players fold, and Russian big stack calls. So there's 450 in the pot, and the turn is the king of clubs, bringing in the club draw, bringing in a full house. Anyhow, I lead out for 250, and he makes the call. So the river is the 7 of diamonds. I check. He bets 750. And now I have to make a decision with my trip kings. So this guy was a really, really good player. He definitely has the ability to bet big and get called when knowing he has either the nuts or near nuts. He also has absolutely the ability to bluff. He's shown a couple of big bluffs where he made a real big bet. So this bet was $750 into a $950 pot. $750 to his stack was not very much. So I'm thinking in my head, well, he's either got the absolute nuts or he's got air. He wouldn't be doing this with a hand like 2 pair. I do think that he might be doing this with a hand that he missed, or the hand that where he thinks he's beat. So a king with a jack kicker, a 10 kicker, maybe he thinks is no good the way that I played it. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I made the call. He turns over king 5 for a full house. Ooh, I lost $11.95 on one hand here. Oh boy, poker. So that hand only left me with 140. I doubled that up later and left with $300. Not a very good day at the win, although I thought I played fine. I thought I made some nice bluffs. I don't know if I played the most stellar cards in the world, but at least for playing not very stellar cards, I actually did well. The hand that I lost on, Ace King, where I lost all my money, was actually a premium hand and lost on that. So sometimes that's cards. But as I have said many, many times, your sessions usually come down to 1 or 2 hands. So I had the hand at the Bellagio where I lost $1,300 in one hand. That was nothing I could do about that one. This hand I lost almost 1,200 on. I look back at it and thought, well, you know what? I could have absolutely made a fold there. I actually could have checked the turn because I knew this guy was a really good player and could have already had a set. He didn't have a set, he had 2 pair, but obviously he hit the top end of it. So, but I kicked myself that says, you know what, I could have pot controlled a little bit and not bet the turn. I still would have called the river, but it probably would have only been 500. So I lost an extra 250 on the previous card and an extra 250 on this, so I lost an extra 500. I don't like that at all. So I ended up leaving there. I decided not to go back to Rio. It's getting kind of late. So I went to my hotel. I was staying at the Orleans. Got to the Orleans and thought, you know what? I got a flight at 11 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. No, it's about midnight now. Let's just play for a few more hours. I don't have to be anywhere. I have to see anybody. So let's just play. Okay, I just looked at my notes again. It was 1 a.m. That's what I thought. Okay, so I buy into the Orleans 1-3 game. It was the biggest game they had going for $500. And I absolutely killed those folks. Absolutely nothing compared to the talent and level that was being played at the Wynn and the Bellagio, but you'll see here in a minute. So on like the third hand I played, I have pocket queens in middle position. I have $490. The under the gun limps. I make it 15. There's 2 callers. The under the gun shoves all in for 165. And I had actually played with this guy 3 weeks before, and he was one of those guys that said if there was $30 or $40 or $50 in the pot, he would shove just because he thought he could take it down. So I shoved behind him so as not to get any other callers, and the other guys folded. The board ran out 9 deuce, 9 deuce. Full house on the board. He's hoping he gets a chop, but he does not because I got pocket queens right, and he mucks his cards. Good start at the old Orleans for Mr. Bill. So on this next hand, I have pocket 2s in the big blind. I have $680. There are 3 calls on a 1-3 game to the small blind, who makes it 15. I make the call, and there's 2 out of the other 3 that called. So the flop has on the flop, there's 63 in the pot. It comes ace of clubs, 2 of spades, 10 of clubs. I flopped another set. Oh, I was running pretty good over there too. Not only were they not the greatest of players, I ran good. So the guy bets $30. I make the call, and the other 2 fold. So on the turn, there's 123 in the pot. Unfortunately, the turn is a 9 of clubs. So a flush comes in. He checks to me. I bet 45. He does make the call though. The river, 213 in the pot. That's the 4 of hearts. He checks to me. I want to try and kind of represent like an ace of clubs that missed. So I overbet to his effective stack of 240. Boy, he tanked for a long time, but he eventually folded. So as poorly as I might have run on those 2 big hands at Bellagio and Wynn, I was running good at the Orleans. So this last hand will go over. I have pocket 5s under the gun. I have 700 in my stack. I make it 15. The hijack makes the call. He had 675 in his stack, and the button called. He had 225 in his stack. The flop, $49 in the pot, comes 5 of diamonds, 6 of diamonds, 6 of hearts. I flopped the full house. That's kind of nice, especially when you're the pre-flop aggressor for 15 in a 1-3 game. They're really not thinking about a small pocket pair necessarily. So I lead out for 15. The hijack makes it 30. The button calls. I decide to go ahead and put in a raise right here. I make it 80, and both players call. So on the turn, there's 289 in the pot, and the turn comes bingo bongo, the 4 of diamonds. The flush comes in. I bet 150. The hijack shoves all in. The button calls, and of course I call. The river is the 3 of spades. The hijack had the nut flush. The button mucked his card, so I don't know what he had. And I had the winning hand. Nice pot for me. So there was a few more hands. I actually got beat when I had second nut flush to nut flush for about $250, and I lost another one for about $100. But I was in for 500, out for 15-20. So at least I got some reprieve from the beating that I took at Bellagio and Wynn. Just waiting at the Las Vegas airport for my non-revenue flight right back there. I've been waiting about 2 hours so far. I'll probably have to wait about 3 or 4 more hours. So, oh, the life of non-revenue travel. I've missed a flight to Dallas, tried to get on to Phoenix, and then get a connection to Dallas. Couldn't get on that flight. So now I'm on the next list for Dallas, which doesn't look great, but we'll see. I'll eventually get there. There's some later flights tonight that look pretty good, so I guess I will work on my vlog. So once again, this was not the most financially rewarding trip that I've ever had to Vegas. In fact, it was probably the worst financial weekend I've had playing poker ever. So that's not fun. But I did have a great time at the World Series of Poker. So up next for Mr. Bill Poker is some really big tournaments at Choctaw. I believe WPT is next at the end of July, early August. Feeling very confident about my tournament game. So I'm going to go there and hopefully do really well. So hopefully you see me out there. Sweat me a little bit. Say hello. So I can't remember if I've told you guys, but for Father's Day, my daughter, Morgan, made me an Omaha button. Because we play Omaha at my Wednesday Night Poker League. I actually use this Omaha button as my card protector now. Anyhow, after I met Brad Owen and Andrew Neeme at the World Series, I sent them, I had my daughter make some more of them, and these are handmade. She did a wonderful job. And I had my daughter make 2 more of them, and I sent them to those guys and said, please invite me to your vloggers game. Anyhow, I'm going to do the same thing for Johnny Vibes. I'm going to send him one of these. They are so awesome. And I have to say, Johnny was just genuinely a nice guy. It was great to meet him. Anyhow, I'm hoping that, I don't know if it's bribery or something like that, but I'm hoping that I can get in on the next vloggers game and get a little bit of free publicity from my friends in Las Vegas for Mr. Bill Poker. But alright guys, that's going to do it for this vlog. Press the buttons, the subscribe button, not the Mr. Bill Poker button, and like my videos or comment or send me a handwritten letter. I would love to get a couple of those. I put my address in the comments on the thing. I'd love to have somebody send me a letter and say, hey Mr. Bill or whatever. Anyhow, thank you guys for subscribing, and we will see you next week.